And also because they're an agricultural society, they needed to know when they needed to plant because the seasons are very extreme, and there's a lot of times there's not a big window of opportunity to get your seeds in and get your harvest out. So therefore, the Incas were huge on observatories, and their main god was the sun god. This is the observatory there in Cusco, below a Spanish church. That was Coricancha. That was the central sun temple of the Incas, and often they had this kind of rounded architecture. This is a sun temple in Machu Picchu. And these are scattered throughout the empire. And for a long time, this is the inside of that sun temple in Machu Picchu. They didn't really know what it was doing there, but somebody showed up on a solstice there one day, not that long ago, 20, 30 years ago, and they saw that the light came through and bisected this carving right here in the middle. And they realized it was an astronomical observatory, and it marked this different solstices, because when they knew that, they knew what their calendar was. They could spread the word through their chasqui runners. It's time to plant. The whole empire was based on, it was a theocratic empire, and they were polytheistic, meaning they had an assortment of gods, the main one being the sun god. But here's, they had moon god and earth god and creator god and that kind of thing. And then when they would conquer different peoples, they would often incorporate, if they had been conquered peacefully, their gods into their pantheon. So they had a really stratified society, which was a theocracy. The head of the society was both the emperor and the god, just like in Egypt and elsewhere. So it was all the power was consolidated into one individual. And that was all based then on the farming, the peasants at the bottom. The Incas had a pantheon of gods, right? So if they conquered an area, if they conquered them peacefully, they would incorporate those local gods into their own pantheon. And the sun god being the biggest one. So when the Spaniards came, the first thing the Spaniards did was to build their own churches on top of the sacred Inca sites. And this is the Plaza de Armas in Cusco. For those who've been in Cusco, if you haven't been, you should go. It's a fantastic city. There on the left is the main cathedral of Cusco, but it was actually built on top of one of the Inca sacred sites. They had a temple to Viracocha, which is the creator god in their pantheon, the god that created everything. And if you go in the church, there's all the Spanish, the Catholic saints and that kind of thing, and Christ and whatnot. And if you go into the northeastern corner of the church, kind of in a nondescript little area, you'll see this oblong stone there, just sitting there. It's like surrounded by glass now, kind of covered in a glass thing. And that actually is thought to be from that temple of Viracocha. That's actually the representation of Viracocha, the Inca god. And even today, like 2020, if you look underneath that glass case that's surrounding it, people are still, local people are putting bills in there, they're putting coca leaves, they're putting offerings to Viracocha, the creator god. So those ideas, that culture still persists despite all of the things you just heard. And there's no better example than on the main square, people are still making offerings to the creator god of the Inca universe, right in the middle of the Catholic Church.